really biting me. Yeah. They're like biting me all over the place. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Stay tuned for my top 10 things to do in Savannah, Georgia. What's up guys, welcome back. If you can't tell, I'm not in Savannah, Georgia anymore. I'm back home in Pennsylvania right now. I couldn't film outside very much because the flies were biting the ever-living crap out of me. It hurts when you bite, very annoying, very frustrating, so bring bug spray. That's why I had the hood up, they were buzzing all around my face and everything like that, and I just wanted to get that done. But anyway, we're going to talk about the top 10 things in Savannah, Georgia. This could change depending on what your likes and what your interests are. Completely fine. Take it for what it is. So let's start off with number 10. Just taking a walk down Bull Street. Bull Street is the central street that goes down Savannah, Georgia. It separates the west half from the eastern half, and it also leads right to Forsyth Park, as well as connects Forsyth Park and about a mile down Bull Street to the historic downtown area. And it's just a great walk. You hit plenty of green spaces along the way, so you get to see a lot of the really nice parks that they have there. Along with that, there's tons of coffee shops, tons of food places that you can stop in, grab a bite to eat or grab a coffee, and also just walking and seeing the architecture of the city itself is really impressive. I really like seeing all the buildings, all these old styles, I guess like Spanish type architecture. So I would say the first thing you want to do when you get to Savannah, Georgia is just walk down Bull Street, get a lay of the land, see what it's like, and get a feel for the city itself. And I think Bull Street is the perfect way to do that. So while you're walking down Bull Street, you'll notice the beautiful green spaces that they have there that are littered all over the city. And you can see them in strategic places throughout the city. And I would definitely recommend going and stopping and just relaxing in those green spaces. There's lots of trees. You'll also have lots of Spanish moss hanging down from the trees while you're walking around. So if you got a coffee or if you got ice cream or something like that, and you just want to relax, or even got takeout food. We did that on one of our trips. We just went down, we got Indian food, and instead of eating it in the restaurant, we figured, let's just go to the green space, and we just sat there and ate the food. So it's a great way to just calm down, relax, just enjoy nature, at least that little square, that little bit of it. There are some homeless people around, however, there is a no panhandling law in Savannah, Georgia, and they don't bother you for money or anything like that, or bother you for food. I mean, it's sad, but it's also kind of nice that they don't bug you. So if you're worried about, like a Seattle experience where the homeless people come up to you and start begging you for change, sometimes they're very belligerent, this isn't the case with Savannah, Georgia. So definitely check out the green spaces. Also, while you're there, one of the green spaces, it's the Chippewa green space, or Chippewa Square. That is where they shot Forrest Gump, where he's sitting on the bench. The bench is not there. You can't actually sit on the bench and take a picture of it or anything like that, sadly. The bench was just a movie prop, but you can get a photo of the square where he was sitting, and that's what we did, so that was always fun. A little bit of trivia for you there. Number 8 on the list is the Basilica. The Cathedral Basilica of St. John the Baptist is the full title. It was originally built, I believe, in 1878, if my memory serves correct, or 1876, around that time frame. However, there was a fire in 1898 and the cathedral had to get rebuilt, and that was finalized in 1912 in its original style, and it is probably one of the most beautiful churches I think I've seen. So it's definitely worth going in, taking a look at it. When you're at the church, take a look to the left when you're outside. There's a little plaque there that gives a little history of the church that you could take a look at, kind of like a history marker. I didn't film much inside the church. I took one picture while I was in there, which I'll share with you. But the outside is very beautiful, definitely worth seeing. Across the street from it as well, there's also a coffee shop. Pretty nice to just lay back, chill, and relax, and just grab a cup of coffee and just sit there and stare at the beautiful church. So that's the 8th thing to do on the list. Let's go on to number 7. Okay, number 7 and number 6 are actually going to be tied together because you could do one or the other, or you could do both, which is what we did. We did these on Sunday. We did a history walking tour during the day, and then we did a ghost walking tour at night. There are other tours. There is a hop-on bus that you could take for the tours as well. We didn't do that, so I can't really say how good that is, but a lot of people talked about that, and they gave it good reviews. 80% of the homes in Savannah, Georgia are haunted. I don't know how true that is. It could just be made up fact. But either way, it's still a really cool experience to just go on a ghost walking tour, especially at night. Adds a little bit of creepiness. The Spanish moss hanging off the trees. It just gives it kind of like that eerie type feel if you're in that type of mood. Otherwise, you look at it just like, hey, this is beautiful. But when you're sitting there listening to ghost stories about murdering and people dying, like, okay, yeah, then it gets a little creepy. But it's totally worth checking that out. Do a ghost tour, do a history walking tour, and even if you're not a history buff, just knowing what you're seeing and what you're walking around and knowing why the city was laid out the way it was and things like that. It's very interesting, totally worth it. Definitely do those. So with that, let's get on to the number 5 thing to do in Savannah, Georgia. The number 5 thing to do in Savannah, Georgia is SCAD. Now, if you don't know what SCAD is, you'll see it everywhere down in Savannah, Georgia. SCAD, which stands for the Savannah College of Art and Design, owns about, I think, 25 to 40% of the buildings in Savannah, Georgia. It was started back in 1973, I believe, with about just a handful of students. Recently, I think they're up to about 20,000 students. I don't recall the exact number. I'll put that right here once I get it. It's world renowned for art and design. They have campuses in Atlanta, and they also have a campus in Lacoste, France, as well. The part that I'm talking about in particular is there is a little museum that teaches you the history of SCAD. So this museum, which I'll give the address right here for the museum so you can go check it out. It's free, you can go in. They won't let me take photos or videos on the inside. I did snap one photo while I was in there. Gonna sound weird, but it was a bathroom selfie because these bathrooms are the most gorgeous bathrooms I think I've ever seen in my life. It's worth it just to walk into that place, check out the building. I mean, you can probably spend a half an hour to an hour walking around there. They do have a little gift shop as well. They also do a 4D experience. I think it's about a 20-minute show. Also free, you can check that out. I think they run it every half hour. Without SCAD, Savannah, Georgia wouldn't be where it is today. You will see SCAD scattered everywhere. It is a very fascinating history, so go check it out. And let's get on to my pick for number 4. Number 4 is going to be River Street and City Market. And I've lumped them together because they're in the same general area. River Street, which basically is the north part of Savannah, Georgia, runs along the river as the name suggests. The western part of that has the newer section of Savannah, Georgia, like the power plant, they call it there, which is a pretty cool, unique building. You can go in, take a look at that. More modern restaurants, more modern feel to it. You got the Starbucks, everything like that's over there for you. The more historical side is the northeastern side of Savannah, Georgia, where some of the old candy shops are, some of the old taverns, some really nice hotels. And that's where you also pick up the boat if you want to go on a boat tour. We didn't go on a boat tour. It probably would be a lot of fun. We just didn't have time to do it, but that's where you would kick off for that. Also, you get the Waving Girl statue, which is kind of like a hallmark of Savannah, Georgia. She was apparently there looking for love, and she would wave at all the oncoming sailors trying to find the love of her life. I don't know if she ever found him. Hopefully she did, fingers crossed. And then also the Pirate House is on that side, which is a really old restaurant. City Market is also on the same area as River Street. It's just a little bit further south, and it's more towards the western side. That's where the nightlife is. That's where the bars are. That's where some of the restaurants are. That's where the rooftop bars are. A nice outdoor walking area where you can walk around with an open beer can, sort of like Bourbon Street in New Orleans. So that's where all the partying happens. So if you're into the nightlife, City Market's where you want to go. It's also pretty active during the day because there's a lot of shopping in that area as well. Keep in mind too, you will run across a lot of bachelorette parties. A lot of bachelorette parties. I'm not kidding you. So many. So check out City Market if you're into that type of thing. If you're into the bar life, go at night. If you're into shopping and things like that, go during the day. So that's number 4. Wait, was that number 4 on my list? I gotta make sure that was number 4. Yes, that was number 4 on my list. Let's get on to number 3. The food scene. The food scene in Savannah, Georgia is probably one of the best experiences I've had on any vacation that I've been to. If you watched the previous video from Maine, where Andrea and I were trying to find food all the time, that's not the case in Savannah, Georgia. There are so many restaurants, and there's so many good restaurants in Savannah, Georgia. It's unbelievable. A few noteworthy ones. The Old Pink House, you're probably going to have to book that a month or 2 in advance. It was insanely packed. I didn't book it early enough. so I can't vouch for the food. However, the Old Pink House, the owners have a sister restaurant called Garibaldi's Seafood. It's in the city market area, and let me tell you, that experience was by far one of the best dining experiences we had. Make sure you sit downstairs. If they're gonna sit you upstairs, although it's really nice, you wanna sit downstairs, especially if you're coming with a dinner date, if it's a couple. The atmosphere is fantastic for that. And the food was also amazing. Go to Garibaldi's. Getting a reservation was a lot easier than the Old Pink House. It's the same owner, so it was the same quality. The food was fantastic. Highly recommend Garibaldi's. Another good food option is called Sorry Charlie's. That's also in the city market area if you're not detecting a trend here. Sorry Charlie's is an oyster house, oyster bar. You can go in there and get oysters. The catfish po' boy that I got was fantastic. Whatever the sauce was they put on there, unbelievable. Andrea got the crab cakes. She ate them so fast I didn't even have a chance to take a picture of them. Not gonna lie, they were that good. Along with all the restaurants, there's tons of good coffee shops and local kind of like small food eat places as well. Gallery Espresso is, I believe, the oldest coffee house in Savannah, Georgia, and I think maybe even the US. Not 100% sure on that one, but they are definitely one of the oldest ones. They did a good cup of coffee, check them out. A good one that we went to, I think it was called Fox and Fig. That was a vegetarian place, so that was really good for Andrea. So if you have anybody that has vegetarian needs, go check out Fox and Fig. The food was really good, really filled me up. Also, when it comes to food, you probably want to check out the Pirate House. That's more on the eastern side, kind of like by where the Waving Girl statue is. Vic's on the River was supposedly another really good one. I think the bottom line when it comes to this one is the food is fantastic. It's not just fried chicken. Do not be afraid of coming here and being worried about trying to get food. Not gonna happen here. So that's number 3, the food scene. Number 2 is going to be the cemeteries. Much like the New Orleans cemeteries that you have, they have a unique feel to it. However, this is a little bit different. If you've ever been to New Orleans and toured the cemeteries, the way they bury their dead there is a lot more interesting. Savannah, Georgia, they're actually a lot more typical, bury people 6 feet under. However, the difference is, Savannah, Georgia, the cemeteries are just beautiful. Do yourself a favor, check out the cemeteries. Bonaventure Cemetery, which is outside of the town, probably about a half-an-hour car ride or Uber ride if you're Ubering, and Colonial Park Cemetery. Colonial Park Cemetery in downtown, near downtown, where they buried a lot of the people that were stricken with yellow fever back in the 1910s or the 1920s. And they buried a lot of people in that cemetery. I think like 700 some victims of the yellow fever were in that grave, and I don't think all of them are marked if I'm not mistaken. However, it's just a really nice, pretty cemetery to walk around. Supposedly at night, you can catch ghosts in the cemetery and things like that. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to see any at that one, but that's okay. The other cemetery, Bonaventure Cemetery, that closes at 5. I don't think they do night tours or anything like that. But you want to check that out during the day anyway because the cemetery is just so gosh dang beautiful. There's an older section as well as a newer section. You can pay $5 for an app that gives you a map of the cemetery, and you can walk around to some of the key individuals that were buried in that cemetery, including one little Gracie Wilson. And she was 6 years old. She died of pneumonia, but supposedly the reason her grave is so popular is because if you left toys at her gravestone, she would play with them at night. Her ghost would play with them at night. I don't know how true that is because what they ended up doing was they put a fence around it because I guess people were leaving too many toys for her to play with. I'm not sure. Anyway, check out Bonaventure Cemetery. Beautiful walk. I didn't think it was creepy. I know some people maybe it kind of could give off that creepy vibe, especially maybe if you go and it's a little bit darker out. But as I mentioned, they close at 5, so you usually have pretty good sunlight. So check out the cemeteries. Colonial Park Cemetery near downtown and Bonaventure Cemetery out, I believe it's east, like southeast of Savannah, Georgia. Alright guys, it's time for number 1. However, before I reveal what my number 1 pick is for things to do in Savannah, Georgia, make sure you're subscribed, hit the like button for this video, and also hit the little bell icon next to my name so that way you're notified whenever I post new content. And then if you like the video, drop a comment in there as well. I already mentioned hit the like button, so you don't have to do that again. Actually, if you hit it again, I think you unlike it or something like that. Do me a favor, do that. Really helps me out, really helps grow the channel and get this video out. Also share it with friends that you maybe know are going to Savannah, Georgia or are interested in going. Alright, thank you guys very much. Appreciate that if you did it. If you didn't, What are you waiting for? It's right like there. It's on one of these sides. Just subscribe. Everybody subscribes to YouTube channels all the time. All right, anyway, number 1 is going to be Forsyth Park. Forsyth Park was the most beautiful park I think I've seen. But the thing that is most beautiful about it is the Forsyth Park fountain. Get some photos there. That's kind of like the highlight of the park. It's just a great spot to gather. The green space is beautiful with the living oak trees that are around with the Spanish moss hanging down. Along with that, there's the Collins Quarter restaurant right there. There's also the 700 Mansion, which is a really fancy restaurant there as well. On the southern side of the park too, there's also a nice little coffee shop. We did get coffee there the last day and actually just walked around the park for a majority of our day before we had to take our flight out. There's also like a nature store, like a nature grocery store, kind of like a co-op that you would typically find maybe up in Vermont or Maine territory. It's very popular for weddings as well, so don't be surprised if the park, at least by the fountain, is closed for an evening, just for a little bit while they do the wedding ceremony, and then it'll open up again. Also, if you happen to be there on a weekend, specifically a Saturday morning during the summer, there's also a farmer's market there that lines the walkway of the park. So that's pretty cool to pick up some local arts and crafts and also maybe some local food. Maybe you could pick up some of the local like meats and arts and crafts and things like that. Bring a blanket with you, like a picnic blanket, and just go for a picnic in the park. 100% do it. And just enjoy the view. Enjoy the people walking around, talking, relaxing. It's just a very quiet park, and it is by far one of the best things that we could have done. So that's my number 1 for sure, is Forsyth Park. Check it out. You won't regret it. Sit on the grass and just relax. Enjoy the Savannah sun. Make sure you wear sunscreen and make sure you wear bug spray because those little freaking bugs bite you everywhere. Alright, but they only bite me apparently. They don't bite Andrea. So anyway, those are the top 10 things that we did in Savannah, Georgia that I think you guys should definitely check out. There is a lot more you could do. We spent so much time eating, relaxing in the green spaces, relaxing in the parks, doing the walking tours. It was honestly a very relaxing and just a great trip. I'll give you one tidbit as well, Tybee Island. So a lot of people said to go to Tybee Island. We didn't go to Tybee Island. The people that we were with did go and they did not recommend it. And after watching videos of Tybee Island, seeing what it was all about, we're from the Northeast. We see East Coast Atlantic Ocean all the time. The beach didn't seem very special. There's really no boardwalk. There is a pier. It didn't seem like it was worth the 30-40 minute ride out to Tybee Island. So I might get a lot of Savanians mad at me about that. I would stay away from Tybee Island. There is a lighthouse there. Maybe you could check that out. But other than that, unless you just really want a beach. So hey, that's my thought. I guess if anything though, you could go up to Hilton Head. Hilton Head's about an hour away. So I guess that's an honorable mention. You could head to Hilton Head for a day if you really want, if you have a car. But that might be another trip because we definitely plan on going back to Savannah, Georgia. So that's it guys, that's the top 10 for Savannah, Georgia. I hope you enjoyed it. It was just a great vacation. Savannah is just an awesome city. If you get the chance, 100% go. Do these 10 things, you'll be happy. Do others as well while you're there as much as you can. Enjoy it. Alright guys, until next time, have a good one. Take it easy.